There are a number of hints about the Assassin's Creed Netflix show and the crossover between Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Origins being potentially discussed at the upcoming Ubisoft Forward presentation, and today we're going to share all the info about them. In the video we're also going to discuss all the recent news dedicated to Assassin's Creed Mirage, including the involvement of Jesper Kid in at least one part of the soundtrack, plus some more information about the new appearance of Assassin's Creed characters in Fortnite, and some more rumors about the Assassin's Creed Infinity platform. So let's jump in and have a look at all the recent Assassin's Creed news. So let's start with Mirage, of course, the recently announced and upcoming Assassin's Creed game that Ubisoft has finally confirmed on September the 1st by sharing this picture, which features our main character Basim in 9th century Baghdad, at least according to most rumors. In our recent videos we have discussed some of the presumed features of the game thanks to a number of unofficial reports, and some more leaks have been released by YouTuber Jonathan, but as we're getting a little closer to the Ubisoft Forward presentation, we're going to cover less leaks about the game itself to see what Ubisoft is actually planning for the showcase. Anyway, well, since the announcement, different versions and formats of the main key art have emerged. Of course, not a lot of additional reveals have come directly from Ubisoft, but we still got to know two more pieces of information that surround Mirage. The first one is that, as reported by Instagram account Warriors Moonlight, apparently Norwegian singer Aurora will perform the main theme of Assassin's Creed Mirage with a new and upcoming song called Hunting Shadows, which looks to be a very apt title considering the themes of the game. The song is rumored to be released on September the 9th, one day before the Forward event, and according to the source, a link for the song has been generated on various platforms, but it's still not fully functional. Nonetheless, there's a kicker to all of this, and it's that fans from the Aurora wiki actually found this picture that shows that the theme song should be performed by Aurora, Evan Kjelby, and Jesper Kid. So once again, after Valhalla, we do know that Jesper Kid might have something to do with Mirage. Maybe it's the theme song only, maybe he also helped with the soundtrack. I guess we might know more on September the 10th, but surely, if Mirage is a homage to AC1, it would make a lot of sense for its soundtrack to be composed by the original composer of the first Assassin's Creed game. The second bit of information surrounding Mirage actually comes from YouTuber Andy Reloads and some information that he reported from the Valhalla game files in his latest video, whose link you can find in the description. In fact, along with some references to some Baghdad prototypes aimed at stealth detection, parkour, and social blending, which likely date to when this Basim story was still planned to be a DLC for Valhalla, Andy now shared that it seems that the final chapter of Eivor's story that has been announced to be released at the end of 2022 will seemingly have some hints or teasers leading to Basim and Mirage. For starters, Andy mentioned that the quest, internally called The Last Chapter, will feature something happening with Hytham's bureau, maybe the bureau itself being set up in England, that is North America, and a mechanic called Basim Interacts, which was found next to other files called Rift Teaser Settlement and Rift Teaser Military Camp, which not only hint at a teaser for Rift, or shall we say Mirage, being placed within this final questline for Eivor, but also that somehow there might be some kind of Basim interaction, and we should remember that by the events of this questline, Basim is left hanging on the Yggdrasil machine, unable to do anything because the machine itself has been mostly turned off and should be only turned on again in 2012 when Desmond sacrifices himself. So I wonder what kind of interaction involving Basim might really happen here. Moving on, some Assassin's Creed related rumors or news involving Fortnite. Journalist Tom Henderson has been mentioning recently that Ezio and Eivor should be coming back to Fortnite as a reintroduction of the characters, which kind of makes sense as another AC thing happening close to the Forward presentation. The reintroduction was seemingly planned on August the 31st, but has seemingly been postponed, which means this might still happen before the Forward event, so in case you're interested and didn't get these skins when they were firstly released, it should be a matter of days. Next we have some vague teasers by some journalists and leakers about Assassin's Creed Infinity, the future online platform that is going to host presumably several Assassin's Creed games, experiences, and so on, and for which apparently 2 Assassin's Creed games are already currently planned and possibly in development. Now, we still don't know much about the Infinity platform and are hopefully going to get some info at the Ubisoft Forward presentation in a few days, but journalist Tom Henderson has recently shared that through his sources he heard that Infinity, though he called it game and it's actually a platform, Infinity will feature something very special. He didn't add more, so that acts more like a teaser than a leak, but it does look like there's more to this than meets the eye, even though it's not something that Henderson is likely to share anytime soon, as he said he might need weeks to corroborate the info from his source before going public with it. So we'll see if anything comes from that. Maybe Ubisoft is actually going to announce this very special aspect about Infinity at the Forward event, but we also got a new piece of information coming this time from journalist Jeff Grubb, the man who leaked that the first Assassin's Creed game for the Infinity platform would be set in Japan, and this time he did tease that the second game or second setting on the Assassin's Creed Infinity platform will be pretty exciting because it's different than usual Assassin's Creeds, and especially it is kinda spooky, for which I honestly wonder what that might actually mean. Keeping the mythology and fantasy stuff apart, Assassin's Creed is usually a historical game, so a spooky setting could be, and this is just my speculation, maybe Romania and especially Transylvania at the time of Vlad the Impaler or Vlad Dracula, so that's why it could be spooky. Vlad the Impaler was one of the most important rulers of Wallachia, a region of Romania, and lived in the 15th century AD, and in Assassin's Creed he was a Templar who fought against the Ottoman Empire and was eventually bested and killed by Ishak Pasha, the Ottoman Grand Vizier and also leader of the Ottoman assassins. In Assassin's Creed Revelations, Ezio found Vlad's remains in Constantinople, and his skull seemingly had some long canine fangs, hinting at the various Dracula legends, so maybe that could be the spooky setting or historical period when Vlad was alive. Or maybe it's going to be something else. Actually, let me know in the comments which historical period and setting could fit the definition of spooky. I really want to know what you guys have to say. Next we have something pretty huge coming from something pretty small, and that is a tweet by Netflix Geeked, which is pretty much the Netflix account dedicated to all things genre entertainment. To give you an idea, it's the account that discusses the Netflix shows that involve geek content like comics, manga, games, etc. So this account, on the day of the announcement of Assassin's Creed Mirage, shared this tweet, which of course doesn't say anything directly, but it does say a lot indirectly, as this is very likely a teaser for at least one of the announced Assassin's Creed TV shows produced by Netflix, which at this point is likely to be at least mentioned during the Ubisoft Forward presentation. To give you a bit more context, Netflix had announced a new live-action Assassin's Creed TV show back on October of 2020, and on the same day, Deadline reported that Netflix had actually entered a content agreement with Ubisoft to develop not only live action, but also animated and anime series, meaning that fans could also expect those, especially considering that back in 2017 there had already been some announcements about an Assassin's Creed anime series, which sadly had never gotten to fruition, but like I said, that might change soon. Netflix in itself has mostly kept silent about the Assassin's Creed show or shows, even though in June of last year, Jeb Stewart had been reported to be one of the writers of the show, but other than that, we haven't heard about this aside from some small teasers, so keep your eyes out during the Ubisoft Forward presentation, as this might also take the spotlight and in a big way. Finally, it looks like the Origins crossover with Assassin's Creed Valhalla might be happening at last, and again, I'd imagine we might hear more about this at Ubisoft Forward. Now, in case you don't remember, a whole while ago, Your Raptor reported that Alex Wilton Regan, the voice actress for Aya and Amunet in Origins, had been spotted recording something gaming related, saying that quote-unquote she is back, plus a new branch of the Steam database for Assassin's Creed Origins was added back in May, bearing the name of Amunet, and more in depth, in one of his videos, Andy Reloads had reported that the game files of Valhalla seem to be hinting that the second part of the Tombs of the Fallen activity for Valhalla, which is officially planned to release in fall of 2022, might feature the ghost or apparition of Caesarion, the son of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra, as one of the hallucinations that Eivor might experience in the caves. Caesarion had appeared both in Assassin's Creed Origins and especially in the Origins comics, where he left Egypt with Amunet in order to be trained, possibly as a member of the Hidden Ones, and that was pretty much the gist of where we stood back in June. Since then, the Assassin's Creed team released the 60 FPS patch for Origins on next-gen consoles, it announced some new Egyptian-based cosmetics in Valhalla, and a free Origins weekend at the end of June, and now it seems like even more elements connected to Origins have emerged or have been announced. For example, more elements have been changed in this Amunet branch on Steam at the end of June. Ubisoft has launched a discount on the gold edition of the game that, as Yoraptor reports, curiously ends on the same day of the Ubisoft Forward presentation, and just a few days ago, a new partnership between Ubisoft and Amazon made it so that players can get Origins for free on PC if they subscribe to Amazon Prime Gaming. So yeah, once again, all signs seem to be pointing to the Ubisoft Forward event, where it seems like we might get more information about this potential crossover between Origins and Valhalla, the new Netflix live-action series, some information about the Assassin's Creed Infinity platform, and of course the fully fledged announcement of Assassin's Creed Mirage, for which we have created a breakdown of all the information we could glean from the official key art, which you can see on screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in our next video.